I tell you that other one time was the time. You got it already.
Hello, welcome to Rumbii. I'm your host, Rumbii. Today is a hot one. Oh gosh, I just turned off the AC to record. It's not even been 5 minutes and I am sweating. So let's see if this is going to be a quick one or if it's just going to be a regular episode. Honestly speaking, I am such a chatty mouth. It's probably just going to be a regular episode. I'm not going to rush anything. The moment I get going, it's going to be difficult to get me stopping. That's why I have a podcast, because I don't have enough people to spend hours talking to every day. So I now just shout into the void that is the internet. But here we are. It's 30 degrees today. Summer is in full swing. I am trying to work out in the heat. And honestly, a couple of days ago, I thought I was going to die. I'm not kidding you. I had my first panic attack while working out. I just went for like a very long and challenging walk. Like, I wanted to keep a specific pace. I took the dog with me and she's okay with the pace. Like, if it was up to her, we would sprint everywhere. So I am currently watching this show called Limitless on Disney Plus. It's actually a National Geographic show. It's done by Chris Hemsworth, and he pushes himself to like learn about his body and wanting to grow old. And it's so funny because nobody ever suggested I watch the show. I just came across it on Disney Plus and I was like, oh, let me check it out. And everything I'm learning from that show kind of coincides with like my decision to want to live to 90. I've mentioned this before on the pod that I keep thinking about my 90-year-old self, and I'm trying to do things that will help me get to 90, you know? And funny enough, in this show, that's literally the goal. The goal is to try and get Chris Hemsworth to get to be 90 years old. But anyway, in the show, he goes through these very brutal exercises to help him like harness his inner strengths. And through that, he learnt this like box breathing technique, which is basically you pretend like you're drawing a box or a square, and for two of the edges you breathe in, and for the other two you breathe out, and like that kind of just helps you calm down in like a moment of panic. So I'm like doing this walk with my dog. Oh, I forgot to mention, by the way, I didn't bring water. I did not have any water for me or my dog. Very, very silly. Anyway, I'm walking and I'm walking up a hill because the way that I planned the walk was to have like flat sections and uphill sections and downhill sections just to like vary the walk. Anyway, so we'd done a few uphills, downhills, and at this point I had stopped by the river because I felt so bad that I didn't have any water. So I took Nala down to the river. She had a bit of a swim just to like cool down. She probably drank some river water, but honestly, it's better than nothing at this point, you know? So I've actually had to detour the walk that I had planned, and I'm exhausted. I am like huffing and puffing. I'm panicking. And I feel like in my mind, I was telling myself that I did not have the energy to do what I needed to do. And at the same time, I was remembering like watching Limitless and like how even when you think you don't have the energy, you actually do have it. It's just your brain playing tricks on you. So I'm like trying to rationalize this like fear that I'm having, but my body is completely ignoring it because at the same time I'm still walking up a hill, so the body is working really hard. I'm in the baking sun, and I was actually listening to a podcast. I was listening to The Receipts, and it was their 200 episode special. Near the end of it, there's a lot of screaming because they're just really excited about a surprise they were given. And so all of this is happening at the same time. Nala's like dragging me up this hill. I am like sweating, dripping down my back, down my face, everywhere. And I've got people screaming in my ears. And I'm freaking out, thinking, I'm not going to be able to make it up this hill. And I I've never been so scared. I've never been so scared. And what made me even more scared is for the first time ever, Nala looked at me like very concerned, which like is something she's never done. Like we notoriously joke around about her being like she has no empathy at all. But you know, we've tried to like trick her into like showing empathy, but like if it's not real, I guess she wouldn't react. And I think in this instance, even she was like, okay, girl, something is not right. Cause she literally turned around and like, she kept like looking back at me like, you good? And I'm there like, oh my God. Luckily, I come across a bench, which just happened to be like on a shaded area. And so we sat down and I continued my box breathing. And I literally went into this full blown panic attack. But I'm used to panic attacks. So at least I was able to like calm myself down and get out of it and then walk the rest of the way home. And so, yeah, I learned my lesson. I feel like every year this happens to me. I have a day at the beginning of the summer where I forget that I need to start taking water with me on walks. And yeah, I'm reminded yet again, do not leave the house without any water. So I just wanted to tell you guys about that. That was my interesting story of the week. So I came on here to talk to you guys about something that I feel like is something that's often overlooked when it comes to the trying to look at the whole experience of going through poor mental health. Because, you know, the story I just shared, I was able to get through it because I have amassed a bunch of skills and I'm still learning more skills. I was able to, you know, apply something I recently learned. I'm constantly trying to find ways of helping myself, you know, understanding what triggers me, what doesn't, and how to work around it. And one of the things I feel like is often overlooked is the support system that we have. And I say overlooked because when it comes to mental health, I feel like a lot of times people think the support system that somebody needs is what they think that person needs. Does that make sense? So for example, for me, let's say my husband, if he wanted to support me, he could approach my mental health thinking that, oh, he's going to do this, this, and this to help me out. But that's centered in his thinking. He hasn't once asked me what it is that I need. And I feel like this is something that kind of applies to pretty much any form of relationship we have with anyone, whether it's a friend, a colleague, a parent, a step parent, whoever. We often think that, oh, I see a need that this person has. Let me meet it for them the way that I know best. But when it comes to our mental health, you cannot do that because, honestly speaking, that doesn't work because you have to ask first. Even if you think you know, even if you yourself experience poor mental health and you know what techniques work for you, I think it's very, very important that we ask the people around us what they prefer. Ask the person exactly what they want, how their needs need to be met. Because when you take over, and let me let me just backtrack a little bit. I want to say this as kindly as possible without being rude, you know, because that's not my goal at all. Can you tell I'm a little bit nervous about this? Basically, I totally understand wanting to help your loved ones, wanting to offer support, especially when we seem as though we are helpless or we are not able to communicate exactly what it is. You can't make a decision in your mind about how to help someone go through something that is happening in their mind. Do you get what I mean? Let me give you an example of my situation. When I first shared with my family that this is what I went through, this is what I'm experiencing, and this is what's been happening, a few people were very quick to want to help me. And in hindsight, I definitely appreciate that help. However, I do think that there could have been improvements in how that help was offered, you know? For about the first 2 months that I had support from my family, I felt like an egg. I felt like this egg that was so delicate that nobody could leave alone. It had to be sort of carefully carried around everywhere. And that feeling, that experience just made me feel even more isolated, because I understand that the people around me were trying to help me and take care of me and give me the support that I needed. But I find that it was also difficult for them to ask me what was happening. Because, I mean, at the same time, I was also like at my worst. I wasn't me. I was very quiet. I kept to myself. I slept a lot. I cried a lot. I was confused. I was experiencing psychosis. So I understand that I might not have been very approachable in terms of like asking me exactly what it is that I need or how to guide them through meeting my needs. So, I get that. I'm just using my example as an example, I guess, because I can't use anybody else as an example. I don't know any other examples really. So, in that, it can add to the feelings of loneliness, it can add to the depression, and it can add to suicidal ideation. And it wasn't until I had spoken to some professionals who then gave me the appropriate vocabulary that I was then able to share with my family and explicitly tell them exactly what it is I need from them and how to do that. I am very grateful for the love and support that I got from my family. I would not change a single thing, because what happened at that time is what helped me get to where I'm at now. I'm just sharing this experience because I hope that if there's anybody out there who is supporting someone experiencing poor mental health, poor mental health, gosh, bilingual things, eh? Um, I hope that you can think about if what you're doing is your choice or it has the influence of the person you're taking care of. And so, how do you do this? How would you approach it? Okay, you are in a point where your loved one is having a crisis. They are in crisis and they're probably nonverbal, they're probably crying a lot, they're probably very erratic in their behavior. You don't know how to approach it. In that instance, by all means, do what you think is best. I'm talking more once they've calmed down and you're thinking about how to move forward from that point on. I think it's important to always ask how the person needs your support. And you can ask questions like, what is it that I can do for you today? And you might find that they will ask you for one thing and one thing only. Another day, there might be a very long list. You can ask, what is it that I can help you with today? Or if you're bringing them food, is there anything specific that you'd like to eat? Just to make the day a little bit better. Because when we are in crisis, being able to have a meal and enjoy it is honestly a phenomenal luxury, because outside of taking a shower or maybe going outside for some fresh air, there's probably nothing else on our agenda for the day. Most of the day is probably going to be spent in bed, on a sofa, crying, upset, whatever. So making them their favorite food could increase the mood, because the day may have been mundane, but at least there's this special treat that is allowing you to feel a little bit better. Next time you are supporting someone, think about whether it's your decision to give that support or they are part of that decision making. This is also something I feel as though you can learn over time. Practice makes perfect. Have as many conversations as possible about this. It's definitely going to be a lot of trial and error that you go through first, but I just want to remind you to support the people around you the way they want to be supported. That said, the more you do it, the better you're able to meet everybody's needs. You are not overextending yourself, and you are not doing things that do not need to be done. And I can definitely attest to that form of support as the best kind of support you can give someone going through poor mental health. Another thing I feel like is important to mention is that as someone who has a amazing group of people around me, so many people around me who are very kind, caring, concerned, they check in on me, they understand me, you know, I feel like at the same time, I am also able to understand who can meet what needs. So my best friend could support me in ways that my mom could never, just because of the different relationships we have. And that goes both ways. So the reason why I say this is the best way to approach it, it also offers the person who needs the support an opportunity to identify what you're good at supporting them with. And over time, that's how we build a healthy social network, because you're not supposed to have one person support you in every single aspect of your life. This is something I learned through many years of therapy, individual therapy, group therapy. We always get taught that in order to have a balanced social network, you need to have different people meet different needs. And this applies to everyone, not just people with poor mental health, not just people with depression, anxiety, psychosis, whatever it may be. It's for everyone. Everyone can apply this. Look at your social network and ask yourself, what does each individual person provide you with? And if you find that there's one person who carries the load too much, try figure out who else you could give that load to. Maybe there are some friends who have never supported you in that way. Figure it out. Talk to them. Find out what you think is the best thing that they can meet for you, what need they meet for you. Because when you do it that way, you're not also overloading someone with all your information. And some people might find that offensive. I actually had a time. So when I initially did my my social network, like I had this rubric where I wrote down all the people in my social network and I wrote down the needs that they meet for me. And there was one person I found that they dealt with everything that I deal with, not just relationship problems or family problems or work problems or school problems. They deal with everything. And I thought that was really unfair. So I slowed down, I changed it up. I took away a couple of things that they were dealing with, and I decided to assign them to some new friends I'd met who didn't have any things that I thought they were supporting me with. And after a couple of weeks, that person reached out to me and they were like, is everything okay? We haven't spoken in a while. What's going on? Because they had gotten so used to me always offloading everything on them. And when I explained to them that, oh, actually, I am reassigning my needs to different people so that everybody serves me differently, and also to minimize throwing everything on them, they hadn't even realized that I did that. And over time, as we speak more and more, we're learning that they are also now able to have a better relationship with me, a more lighthearted relationship with me, because I'm not always looking for advice or constantly asking how they can help me. We can actually just sometimes hang out, laugh, have a laugh about something completely unrelated to all these things that I used to dump on them. And so in a way, I think it's a phenomenal way of balancing out your relationships with the people around you while also making sure that all your needs are met. I'm going to say it again. You don't have to tell everything to one person. You can offload to different people in your social network. Everybody has to meet a need. Think about it this way. Imagine if you and the people in your social network built a community that you all lived in. You all lived together in this one tiny little village. Realistically, everybody would have a different role, right? You wouldn't expect one person to do everything. And that's how you maintain good friendships. And that's how you learn to start setting boundaries. And that's how you learn when somebody else sets a boundary that you don't cross it. So, yeah. That's all I had to share with you guys. I hope it made sense. I'm taking a leaf out of last week's episode of no longer structuring my episodes, because I find when I did the structuring stuff, it just became so much work, because I have to do my research, which I still do. It's just that I'm not writing things down. I'm reading things and keeping them in here, because I find I have a better conversation when I'm just talking off the dome. So I am still writing in my diary. I am still doing a little bit research about these topics. I look through all my resources that I've collected over the years, and I try to package it in a way that is acceptable, easy to digest for you guys. And also, it's a lot less work for me because, oh my gosh, you guys, let me tell you this. Whew, content creation is not for the weak. Honestly, you have to be on it. You have to keep your eyes on the ball. If you slip up, you lose control and you lose your momentum, and it's a lot of work. And at the moment, like I mentioned, I'm in the process of doing guest episodes. So I am playing producer. I am contacting people. I am doing the research. I'm trying to figure out what things to discuss with them. Also to do it in a way that's approachable, that isn't going to make them feel as though, oh, this is a serious interview, because it's not. We're just hanging out and having a chat. And so I've actually had to put making YouTube videos on hold, because the podcast is taking all my energy at the moment. I haven't even posted reels in like a couple of weeks because I don't have the time. And also I have to be a wife and live life. So I am learning to balance all of that. But the best thing about it is I am creating, I'm staying consistent, I'm learning so much, I'm growing, I'm evolving. And honestly, it's phenomenal because at the end of the day, I am still working towards my goal. I mentioned to you guys, I think back in February now, that I want to be a TV presenter or radio presenter or both. Actually, I want to be both. And so in order for me to get to that point, I'm going to have to take some steps that I have no idea what they are, but I'm figuring out as I go along. And so there's so much to learn. There's so much to read about. And at the same time, I'm also like researching about radio stations in my area. Where can I volunteer at? That kind of thing. It's taking so much of my time, but I'm grateful for it. I'm so grateful to have found a goal and a passion that I'm able to like focus on. But oh my goodness, it's a lot. I'm blackgirling too much at the moment. But it's exciting. I'm acquiring so many skills, and I am learning, I'm evolving, and that's the best thing for me. I am a better person today than I was a week ago and how I was a year ago. So it's all going to make sense in the end. And I'm glad that my husband and I both see the vision. And so we're just doing what we can. And yeah, oh my goodness. I am about to go eat a sandwich. I told myself that I am not going to eat this sandwich until I've recorded this episode. And I'm so, so excited. Okay, I think I'm a little bit delirious. My reward for recording this episode is the chopped sandwich. Anyway, guys, I hope that you've had a great week. And I hope that you stay awesome, be kind, and spread positivity.
Rumbee's podcast. Rumbie's podcast. Yeah. Rumbee's podcast. What? Rumbie's podcast. Rumbee's podcast. This is Rumbie's podcast. What? Rumbee's podcast. Yeah.